Okay, so I'll be doing these videos in a new and different way. I'll be recording them and then uploading them. I'm here at the local branch of your Build Back Better in Olmsted County, where Biden Harris and your local Andy Smith for District 25B has his headquarters. The Olmsted and DFL is a very popular political party with people who want to do a lot of good for society, right? And one of the things we all set up together was the Minnesota State Department of Health and Human Services, because we believe in taking care of our people. But a bunch of us became aware in 2015 and really earlier on than that there was a lot of fraud, waste, and abuse under Miss Carolyn Ham, who was then directrix, if you will, of the Minnesota State Department of Health and Human Services. An estimated $250 million per year of our tax money, our value, stolen from us per year, spirited out of Minneapolis-St. Paul Airport and sent around the world to a certain destination, which we're not allowed to mention, otherwise we're going to be called lots of names. But that money was defrauded against us, taken away against our will, of course in taxation, but also in the value that sucked it out of our communities and out of our nations. It took it overseas to another country. So the Health and Human Services Department is charged with daycare funding and elder care situations, sometimes transportation. They're involved in a lot of business activity, if you will. Well, the fraud, waste, and abuse was insufferable, and it was exposed by a series of investigations. The directrix, Carolyn Ham, placed on administrative leave in 2019, but she wasn't, she didn't lose her salary. She continued to be paid while she was on administrative leave. And now, of course, the rest is history. But we have more fraud, waste, and abuse inside the same agencies run by the same or similar people. And another new type of fraud that we all found out about during COVID, because of course you can't have any public oversight during COVID. Everybody's got to stay away from the books. Can't count the ballots, can't count the money. We have fraud, waste, and abuse called the Feeding Our Future fraud. Feeding Our Future was a program where they exploited, of course, our sentiments toward wanting to feed children and do good for children, make sure that women and children were well maintained and well taken care of in our society. And so we had this Feeding Our Future program that sprang up in a ubiquitous way all over Minnesota. Well, the same old cast of characters began pirating the money, and these land pirates took as much cash as they could after the program was established. So again, exploitation of children to play on our sentiments as, we're Minnesota nice, which is actually Minnesota stupid. And then we end up being defrauded. Again, weird number to come back again and again, but $250 million a year. And then we end up being defrauded. And the children go hungry. So of course it works the same way. Now the United States Department of Justice has handed down over 70 indictments in the state of Minnesota, and the first of which is about to come to trial. It's going to be exciting, but of course you'll be busy with sports ball, and of course the bubble media in Rochester will make sure you don't hear the noise about people stealing your tax dollars, because they need some more next year, and they need to tell you got to pay more. But the Feeding Our Future fraud trials are coming, and they're starting up. And the timing couldn't be better, because we want all people who are in the DFL and Olmsted to understand that we don't hate welfare programs. The DFL, they're always talking about everything being fully funded. You got to fully fund this, you got to fully fund that. Well, what happens to the funding we gave you? Seems like you got a lot of money there. Oh, somebody stole it? How about you go after them, get that money back? Here in Rochester, Minnesota, in Andy Smith's district in 25B, we have 4 or 5 different men who received indictments for the Feeding Our Future fraud. They're still in business in Rochester, Minnesota. I'm excited to see what Representative Andy Smith has to say about health and human services programs. Because you know what? That's your treatment. That's your procedure. That's your medical talk with a doctor about a health issue. That's your money being stolen that a bunch of taxpayers paid. We paid that money, and we didn't pay for it to be stolen. We paid for that money to go for its intended purpose, which you said, DFL and Olmsted, was feeding children. Now you have to answer for that. You don't get to walk away. You set us up to be defrauded. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.